I'm Erin Ryan, host of Crooked Media's Hysteria Podcast.
Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Let's be less wrong. We're here with Twits who talk versus people who do.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco, the other host of Crooked Media's Hysteria Podcast.
And to dive into one of the best embodiments of the internet adage, nothing that only straight men like is cool. A man who, despite growing evidence that he's not in the headspace to control space exploration, electric vehicle manufacturing, is still being trusted with billions in government contracts.
Great partnership that we have here between NASA, the Air Force, the FAA, and SpaceX. It's really a great commercial government balance here. The state of Florida as well has pitched in, so it's really made all of this happen very, very quickly.
He always struck me as a weirdo who was more full of shit than porta potties at the end of the New York City Marathon.
That's pretty full of shit. Elon Musk became one of the richest people in the world by convincing enough people with power that he's a genius. There's no there there. He's not a genius. He's not a scientist. He's not an engineer. He's not an innovator. He's a bullshitter.
Because Elon was like, hey, I want to build rockets. Steve would hire a bunch of rocket guys, and Elon would go read rocket manuals.
So Elon's a better engineer, like a love and passion for the manual.
And the details.
The details.
Data.
But he's so driven, and he's such a smart guy. And he's really the most driven person I think I've ever met.
Elon said, first you figure out what configuration you want the atoms in, and then how to put them there. His great insight is people are how constrained. I have this thing, I know how it works. Little tweaks to that will generate something, as opposed to what do I actually want, and then figure out how to build it. It's a very different mindset, and almost nobody has it.
If you pose to him a serious question, he'll consider it, and he'll kind of go into this almost like a trance. He'll stare off into space, and you can see the wheels turning. He's like focusing all of his intellect, which is considerable.
I really like the way he thought. You think you have an understanding about what first principles of something is, and then you talk to Elon about it, and you didn't scratch the surface. Elon was good at taking everything apart and like, what's the deep first principle? Oh no, what's really? That ability to look at it without assumptions and how constraints, super wild. He built rocket ship,
using
electric car, and
process.
everything, and that's super fun, and he's into it too. All right, but how did you do that? Well, it was super hard. And then people say, well, it's chaotic. Really? Get out of all your assumptions? You think that's not going to be unbelievably painful? Is Elon tough? Yeah, probably. Do people look back on it and say, boy, I'm really happy I had that experience to go take apart that many layers of assumptions? Sometimes super fun, sometimes painful.
What's really remarkable to me is the breadth of his knowledge. I mean, I've met a lot of super, super smart people, but they're usually super, super smart on one thing. And he's able to have conversations with our top engineers about the software and the most arcane aspects of that. And then he'll turn to our manufacturing engineers and have discussions about some really esoteric welding process for some crazy alloy. He'll just go back and forth. His ability to do that across all the different technologies that go into rockets and cars and everything else he does, that's what really impresses me.
There are so many instances of Elon exaggerating or flat out spinning tall tales about his own prowess.
We love a good scam, so let's learn about the self-perpetuating scam that is Elon.
He was so annoying that eventually PayPal founder and Silicon Valley supervillain Peter Thiel found him too irritating to work with.
It's been an incredible success. I would never bet against Elon in anything. So I think that's hard rule number one. Elon's super impressive because he's done something outside the IT space. We're in a world that's dominated by IT, by innovation in the world of bits, much less in the world of atoms. And I think that's what makes Elon uniquely charismatic. We do have a sense that it would be good if we were doing a little bit more in atoms and not everything in the world of bits. I also think it's quite hard to do things in the world of atoms rather than bits.
eBay bought the site in 2002. He used that money to start a company called SpaceX.
Sounds like a souvenir boner pill sold in gas stations in Roswell, New Mexico.
And that landing burn has started.
H2 terminal guidance. Both boosters are deployed.
And the Falcons have landed.
A long and fruitful career of SpaceX feeding from the prolific teat of Uncle Sam. In 2006, SpaceX was awarded a $396 million contract from NASA. Its Falcon 1 program was sucking ass, unless you think a rocket that explodes can still be counted as a success.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
Erin, I think that when a SpaceX rocket explodes, it's called a rapid unscheduled disassembly when conscious uncoupling goes to space.
Elon is not making the rockets. He's not an engineer. He's simply the guy who benefits the most financially from the work of people who are building the rockets and satellites. SpaceX is now worth more than $36 billion. Elon won't stop yammering about sending people to Mars, but SpaceX has yet to demonstrate that they're even capable of sending people to the moon.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
They had to throw their hands up and be like, well, they're a private company. What can you do?
I don't know. Stop giving them contracts? Let somebody else build the satellites?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
These twits are so stupid they don't realize there is no one else who's capable of doing the things that SpaceX does. That's why SpaceX is getting all the contracts. And SpaceX does a lot more for a lot more customers than government, making a ton of money and launching its own payloads for itself for the Starlink satellite system.
Cybertruck, long cheerleaded by Musk, is an ugly, clunky embarrassment that has publicly face-planted.
Celebrities are falling all over themselves to take pictures of themselves with Cybertruck and show it off to their fans. But these two morons I've never heard of before say Cybertruck is unattractive. I think Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, SGA, Shea Gilgas Alexander, I think Jay-Z, Beyonce, I think maybe they have a better sense of what's attractive than these two twits we've never heard of. The point of this video was to counteract this nonsense we hear over and over from Biden supporters and Tesla Q people and just Elon haters, people afflicted with Elon mad bad syndrome, smarter than Elon diseases, people saying things like Elon doesn't know what he's doing, Elon's not an engineer, Elon's a terrible boss. I think it's important to hear from people who've actually worked with Elon, people who are engineers, people who have a much better understanding of what Elon's like, to hear their voices rather than these twits who've never met him and really obviously have not paid any attention, don't know the difference between a Falcon 1 rocket and a Falcon 9 rocket, think they know something about Cybertruck when they clearly don't. And contrast that with what people who actually know have to say. And we're going to close out with my favorite Elon employee, Gwynne Shotwell. Let's hear what she has to say about what it's like working with Elon.
I love working for Elon. He's a great boss. He's funny. He's incredibly fair, almost to a fault. He works really hard. He's an inspirational leader, inspirational boss, and I want to work hard to make sure I do whatever it is I can do to help him. So I love working for Elon. I've been doing it for 16 years this year, actually. Fundamentally, without him saying anything, he drives you to do your best work. Elon is very aggressive on his timelines. That drives us to do things better and faster. Every time I felt like we were there, people were getting comfortable. Elon would throw something out there and all of a sudden we're not comfortable. And my job is to get the comfortable, close to comfortable, so he can push again and put us back on that slope.
So when you see somebody talking smack about Elon, show them this video, send them a link. Listen to Jim Keller, listen to Garrett Reisman, check out what Tom Mueller said about Elon and SpaceX engineer, the other engineers. Listen to Gwynne Shotwell. Oh, he's a terrible boss? Gwynne doesn't think so. Oh, he's not an engineer? Yeah, ask Jim Keller, ask Garrett Reisman, ask Tom Mueller. These people don't know what they're talking about. They're convinced they're right. They're caught up in their bubble. And hearing from people who actually worked for Elon or work for Elon, their thoughts on Elon, you might get a different perspective. People don't read the biography. People don't read the Wait But Why series about him. People don't bother reading or making any effort to learn for themselves. They take what they're fed by the mainstream media or the lamestream media or whatever source they're relying on that doesn't know anything about Elon or is deliberately lying to them. Instead of going to the source, watch actual interviews with Elon, see how much he knows, see how he talks about things. Watch actual interviews with people who did work for Elon, Andrej Karpathy, Gwynne. I left Andrej Karpathy out of this one, but Karpathy, Gwynne Shotwell, there's all these people who've worked with Elon who can tell you how great he is. But if you just choose to listen to people who've never met him, never paid attention, never tried to understand him, or are deliberately lying to you about him, then you're going to get a distorted perspective. So please share this video with your friends who love to say crappy things about Elon because they send you some article for some bullshit lamestream media article. Send them this video and say, hey, here's what people who worked for Elon have to say about him. Tell me that you know better than them. Tell me that your sources know better than them. I'm not sure it'll work, but give it a shot. And thank you so much for watching. Check out the t-shirts at elonbits.com. Please subscribe to me on the X platform, WR4NYGov. Please become a YouTube channel member, support me on the Daily Live, support me on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching.